At first, this game looks like a kingside attack. Black develops the bishop actively. Then black pushes the f-pawn. And then black pushes it again. Everything points toward white's king. But the game is not decided by the first attack you see. It is decided by the center. And by the end, one passed pawn becomes part of a mating net. This is a Ruy Lopez, but black chooses a very direct plan. The f-pawn is already on f4. That gives black space on the kingside and a clear attacking idea. Now watch how the queen joins the plan. First, black plays queen to f6. Then, black plays queen to g6. In blitz, this kind of plan is attractive because it gives you clear moves. Push the pawn, bring the queen, attack the king. But every attacking move has a price. When you push pawns and move pieces toward one wing, you also leave weaknesses behind. And if the center opens before your attack is ready, your own king can become the target. After queen to g6, white answers in the center with d4. This is the first quiet warning sign. Black is building an attack on the wing, but white is opening the center. That is the central question of the whole game. Can black attack before the center answers back? A few moves later, we reach the first important decision. Black's e-pawn captures on d4. This move looks completely natural. White has a pawn in the center. Black can capture it. In many blitz games, this move would be played almost automatically. But here, it solves the wrong problem. The problem was not just the pawn on d4. The real problem was that black's attack had created weaknesses, while the center was becoming unstable. After the capture, white can recapture, develop activity, and keep asking questions in the middle of the board. Black wanted an attack on the king, but white was starting to open the part of the board where black was least ready. That is why this is such a useful human mistake. It is not a ridiculous move. It is a normal move with the wrong diagnosis. Before you attack on the wing, ask one question. Can the center open against me? If the answer is yes, your attack may not be the main story anymore. White begins to collect practical advantages. The queen enters, the pieces become active, the central pawns keep moving. But this is not a perfect technical game by white. That matters. The second key moment comes when black plays h4. Again, the move is understandable. Black has been attacking the kingside since the opening. The queen is near the white king. The h-pawn can open lines. So the hand wants to continue the same plan. But the position has changed. White now has active pieces, central pressure, and a dangerous passed pawn idea coming. Black needed to deal with the center and the active knight. Instead, black keeps playing the old attack. This is a classic blitz mistake. A plan can expire. The move that made sense 5 moves ago may no longer fit the position now. When the board changes, your plan has to change with it. After h4, white still has to convert the position. And white does not convert perfectly, especially under 1 minute. For example, queen to f5 check is natural because the black king is exposed. But in winning positions, not every check improves the position. Still, the strategic problem remains the same. Black's attack has left too many weaknesses behind. White does not need to play a perfect game to prove that the original attack was overextended. After the queen trade, the game becomes easier to understand visually. White's e-pawn starts moving. First it reaches e6. Then it reaches e7. And this is the important lesson. A passed pawn is not only a pawn that wants to promote. A passed pawn is also a restriction tool. It takes squares away, It forces pieces into passive positions. It makes the opponent react. And sometimes, before it becomes a queen, it already helps create mate. The passed pawn did not become dangerous only because it might promote. It became dangerous because every step forward reduced black's choices. Now comes the final human decision. Black has under 40 seconds. White has a knight on g7 and a passed pawn on e7. Black plays king to g4. At first, this looks active. The king moves forward, it attacks space, it tries to create counterplay. But activity is not the same as safety. On g4, the king steps into a net. White's knight captures on e8. The defender disappears. Then knight to f6, check, drives the king further into danger. The e-pawn promotes to a queen on e8. And queen to e2 is checkmate. The lesson from this game is simple. Before you attack, ask whether the center can open. If your opponent can strike in the center, your kingside attack may be too slow. And when you face a passed pawn, do not see only promotion. See the squares it takes away. See the pieces it ties down. See the king it may trap. Good chess is often quiet before it becomes obvious. Here the quiet danger was a pawn. And by the end, that pawn became mate. If this helped you see the position more clearly, subscribe to QuietChess.